Hi guys, what's up? It's Shauna. Today I wanted to talk about all the lessons that I relearned during Camp Nano this year. So Camp Nano, I decided that I was going to kind of put everything aside and just focus on getting the first draft of my fantasy novel going. I had about 10,000 words when I started, but I really wanted to get into the meat of it and get out of that I'm just starting phase. So I'm happy to say that I did. I didn't quite hit my goal, but I still felt really good with the progress that I made. I was kind of reflecting on the things that I learned, and I relearned a lot of things this last month that were really good reminders to myself, and I thought that I would share them with you guys. So the first lesson that I learned was more of a reaffirmation, but I am a plotter. I found that where my outline was a little loose, I really was struggling, and I would have to stop and really plot out what was happening in the scene to really get going again. Like right now, I'm actually at one of these spots. My character is being tested for her stats, and they have to go through this obstacle course to be tested on it where there's like a lot of stuff happening, and I just have to push through this scene, but I'm gonna have to lay out what actually happens in the obstacle course because it's just a hot nightmare for me to write right now, and it's coming out like mud. Plus, I really like dialogue scenes, so this is a lot of action happening and not a whole lot of dialogue. So I really got to get into my character's head in order to get the scene out. In order to do that, I need to know what's happening in the actual obstacle course so that I can focus on what's in her head. The second thing I learned this Nano is that sprints are gold. I knew I loved writing sprints. I use them a lot, but this month really just reaffirmed that to me. Basically, writing sprints are a set amount of time that you are doing nothing but writing, and I use those very frequently. However, I came up with a routine that really works for me, and that's actually number 3. Routine is everything. Basically, this is how my weeks looked throughout Nano. Every night, I would try to sit down from 8:30 to 10:30 to write. On Mondays and Fridays, I have a group of girls on Twitter that do writing sprints from about 9 till 11, I think. Then on Thursdays, Kim Chance and Megan LaCroix host live writing sprints in a Facebook group. If you don't know about that, I'll link it down below. If you don't know either of them, you need to follow them because they're both awesome ladies. I really enjoyed that, so I actually now after Nano have started my own in my Facebook group, Write Warriors, every Tuesday from 8:30 to 10:30 Eastern Standard Time. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, I would love it if you would join us. That would be super fun. So come hang out with us. I'll leave all the links, will be all down below. But that's what my routine was, is every night from 8:30 to 10:30 I was trying to do writing sprints, and I was trying to write at least 1,000 words. So there was some family stuff that came up this month that hindered some of my writing, so I'm not holding that against myself because it was important for me to be with my family during those times. I'm very proud with the progress that I've made. The next thing that I relearned was that it doesn't have to be perfect. I kept running into these situations where I would get bogged down and I would be trying to describe this perfect scene, but then my editor brain would step in, and then I would want to keep editing everything else that I'd already written, and I wouldn't keep moving forward. So it's very important for my writing process that I keep my descriptions actually minimal when I'm going through, because descriptions take a little bit more thought for me. And I'm sure that's like that with everyone, but particularly for me, I can get easily bogged down trying to make the description perfect. So it's very important for me to just keep pushing through, even if it's a very vague description, because if my editor brain switches on, then my drafting brain turns off. And that's really hard for me to get focused and keep my momentum moving forward. I do enjoy editing more, so that's why it's so easy for me to slip into that. But right now, this first draft, it just needs to get down so I can see the whole structure, and I don't need to be worrying about the description as much right now. I need to worry about getting the story structure down. So I have embraced placeholders and embraced the imperfection in my writing, and I have allowed myself to keep going. But I have to say number 5 is the biggest lesson that I learned, and it was very important to my career that I relearn this lesson, and that was that I had messed up priorities. So I really wanted to do Nano because I felt like I had been neglecting my writing, and it felt like it was a pressure instead of something that I was doing that I loved. And it wasn't necessarily my writing, but I was pushing it off onto my writing. It was everything else that I do for my writing. So YouTube videos, my blog, my writing prompts, everything else that I'm trying to do for my social media and my platform. But if I don't write the books, then none of that's going to matter. And I was putting so much pressure on getting all these other things done that I was neglecting my writing. I'd really like to thank Amy, one of my writer friends in my writing group, for recommending this book to me, because it ended up being the book that I needed right now. And that is Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. In this book, she talks about living a creative life without fear. And she also mentions that a lot of writers like romanticize this suffering lifestyle. Like, if you're not suffering, if it's not painful, is the story really worth telling kind of mentality. And I noticed that I was kind of adopting that, and it was almost feeling like a burden to me. Like, the pressures of everything else I was doing was focusing so much on my writing that I wasn't doing it, because I was getting so stressed out with everything else that I was forgetting that I love writing, that I love doing it. I don't hate it. So all this stress was creating this lifestyle that wasn't fun for me, that I wasn't enjoying. And I'm not saying writing is fun all the time. There's going to be hard parts that you just have to work through. But I wasn't enjoying it. I'm doing all this stuff for writing, and if I'm not writing, what the hell is the point? I might be rambling, but it was just this like epiphany that I had that hit me at the right time. This was the exact book that I needed to read, and she talks about changing your thoughts, changing it from being that painful thing that you're a suffering writer to being like an affair. I'm not romanticizing affairs in any way. I'm very dedicated to my husband, but she explains it like, when two people are in an affair, they will do anything to get that 15 minutes alone, and they're so excited to be together for just that little bit of time. They will take any moment that they can, and it's exciting, and they want to do it. It's a priority. It becomes what they are living for. They love the excitement of that 15-minute make-out session in the hallway. They love staying up late so that they can talk to that other person. And I realized that I was looking at my writing like it was dying, and I sucked all the life out of it because of all the other things I was stressed about. And I needed to get that excitement back. I needed to have an affair with my writing. I had to do it. So that's what I focused on during Nano. I let some other things slip. I didn't do some of the things that I usually do in my writing group. I missed my writing prompts last month, but I had an affair with my writing. And I'm so happy that I did, because I gave it life again. And I got to a point in my story that it was exciting again. And I was having so much fun writing it. It's such a relief now that I'm to this point again, because I feel like everything else I'm doing is now worth it. I feel like it's more fun to make the YouTube videos now. It's more fun to write the writing prompts now. I don't feel the pressure of everything else, because in the end it's my writing that matters. And if I miss a video 1 week, is it really gonna matter in the long scheme of things? It's not. If I miss my blog post, if I miss whatever, it's not gonna matter in the long run. But if I don't write a book, that's what's gonna matter. And I'm just so happy that I had this realization and I was able to take this pressure off myself. So I didn't hit my Nano goals this month. I wrote 20,000 words instead of my goal of 30,000 words. But that's okay, because what I got from it was so much more than that extra 10,000 words. I had an affair with my writing and I fell in love again. So that's all I've got for you today. Let me know how you did on your Nano goals. I would love to hear about it. Remember that whatever you did, even if you only wrote 1 word, that is still farther along than you were before. So don't beat yourself up if you didn't hit your goals, because you're still further along than you were before you started. So thank you guys for stopping in. I post videos every Wednesday all about books and writing. So if that sounds good to you, I would love it if you would like, comment, and subscribe below. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye!